The Premier League season's underway, it's Manchester United, and I can finally say run the intro. Welcome back to the channel, my name is a-bomb, we're back with Football Manager 2020 and a deal with the Devils. It's the Manchester United save, and today we start the Premier League season. It's away against Bournemouth. Now yesterday in real life, Bournemouth won 1-0. Hopefully it's not a repeat of that today. We're going to go through a result, we're going to show you the signings that I've made as well. Not a great deal of players, I think 4 or 5 players, I think 5 signings. We're going to show you those, we're going to show you sales, and we're going to get into this match. But I've got an intro, I've got badges, I've got real name fixes, I've got face packs. So this is it now. This is FM20. As always, links to face packs and logos and name fixes can be found in the description. I get all of my stuff from Sort It Out SI. So if you want your name fixes, if you want your face packs, your logos, your kits, head over there. So we're going to start off by going through the players that have left the club. Now, of course, because it's the first season, all the transfers they've already made are on here. So it's got the sale of Lukaku. It's got the sale of Sanchez, the loan of Sanchez, rather. They're all in there, so there's some added on. The first one is that Brandon Williams has gone on loan to Bolton Wanderers, a player that's got a bit of potential he has as a left back. Would have been maybe handy to keep on because we have got a bit of a lack of options at left back. We've got Ashley Young, we've got Luke Shaw, that's about it. So Williams would have been nice to keep around, but he was already on the loan list and I hadn't taken him off, and Bolton came in with a loan. So if he does well and if we are really desperate, we can maybe recall him. Not outside the transfer window, so maybe come January we can bring him back if he's doing well. James Garner's also gone on loan. He is a central midfielder. He's gone to Bristol City. Again, a player that's got a little bit of future ahead of him maybe. He's got some good attributes actually, some 15s and 14s in there, and a 16 teamwork as well. So he doesn't look too bad, and again, he's gone on loan for the season. If he does well, we can maybe bring him back and maybe make some use of him next season in some cup games or something. Lee Grant, we just tried to get rid of him because I don't think I'm ever going to play him. He was third best. Third choice goalkeeper. He's gone to Seattle Sounders for the season, just until his contract runs out, and then he's going to go. We have bought a young goalkeeper to be sort of third choice and maybe even play ahead of Sergio Romero. I'm not quite sure about that. And there's a couple of first team players that are left as well. Marcus Rojo's gone on loan to Everton, and this is for the season. It's a player that I was probably going to try and cash in on, but Everton have come in with a loan bid. They're paying all of his wages, all £110,000 a week. So again, it's good to have him out of the club to get him some first team football because I don't think he was going to be first choice for me. And we had a lot of centre back options as well. With we had Lindelof, we had Maguire, we had Twanzebe. We've got like 5 good centre back options, but we have got a little bit of a injury concern at the start of the season. So Rojo maybe couldn't have been too bad to have around at this point. There has been one sale for money though, and that is the sale of Nemanja Matic to Guangzhou Evergrande in China. I'm glad he's gone to China because they like to pay over the odds. They'll pay for players, and we've got 13 million, I think it is, for him. 13.5 million. So he's gone to the Chinese leagues, been at United for a couple of seasons, and again, it's a player that I was probably going to try and cash in on. There were some other players, other teams interested as well. I think Milan were one of them, but Guangzhou have got him. They're paying him £105,000 a week, so he's out of the club as well. For good, this one. The only full sale we've made. Our head of youth development has been making some signings of his own. He signed Matt Parsons, an 18-year-old striker who's been playing in America for Dallas Texans. I don't know why, because he hasn't really got much potential. He's 18, and I don't think he's ever going to play for me. Like, he's just bought this guy for the youth team. I don't really know why. Like I said earlier, the signings that United have already made this season will be in the game. So Daniel James is here. The 18 million signing Harry Maguire. Let's see who we've added to that. We'll start with that young goalkeeper I mentioned earlier. Well, it's Stefan Bajic, who is a French goalkeeper. He's come from Saint-Etienne. It's for £7.75 million. And yeah, he's got a future ahead of him. I think he's good for these sort of youth teams. We don't really have like a good young goalkeeper like Dean Henderson's one, but he's not exactly young. I think he's in his 20s, definitely, like 22 maybe. We needed like a teenage goalkeeper with a bright future. We may have found one here. We've also signed Nathan Ferguson, a centre-back. We brought from West Brom, £10 million. Probably a bit too much for a player that's 18. Again, he's got some potential, some decent ratings in there as well, some good attributes. Again, it's just for a bit of cover at centre-back because, like I mentioned earlier, there is a little bit of an injury concern. No real like long-term injuries, but just 2 or 3 players that are out for like a few days or a couple of weeks. So Ferguson, again, it's just a bit of a player for the future. I doubt we'll ever see him because this is only going to be for maybe 2 seasons, but just to get some good players in the youth ranks, because there's not as many as I thought there were going to be for United. Everyone's talking about how guys like Chong and Greenwood are going to be the new class of 92. There's not much else behind those. There's Gomez and there's a midfielder, which I'll show you in a minute. But yeah, there's not as much as I thought there was in terms of youth at United. 3 more players to show you. This is Birger Meling, a Norwegian left-back who looked better than he was when I was scouting him. He's 2.5 star. He's 24. He's come from Rosenborg for £1.4 million, so a very small fee. He's just going to be a backup player for left-back, really. We do need, probably in January, a sort of replacement for Ashley Young, because this is his last season. He's going to go at the end of his contract, so we are going to need like a long-term replacement for Ashley Young. I was looking at guys like Jose Gaya from Valencia, Chilwell from Leicester. Definitely some options out there, so we'll have to give that a think. But the final 2 players being signed for a combined £41 million. The first one is Danilo Pereira, a Portuguese defensive midfielder. He's going to be employed for me as a defensive midfielder, essentially replacing Nemanja Matic. He's come from Porto. £27 million is the fee. I think that's a good fee. He's already valued at 40, so I feel like we've got quite a good deal there. He's on £80,000 a week. Technically, he's not too bad, but he's going to be like that defensive midfielder, very strong. He's 6'2", tireless, resolute, good positioning and teamwork, concentration's good. So hopefully he can clear up any balls ahead of our defence. I think playing him as an anchor man or maybe a half-back would work. But he can play a bit further up as well, maybe as a box-to-box. So we've got some good midfield options now. I feel like the midfield players are pretty good. We did try and get one more, but we just ran out of time. I always forget with his Premier League saves that the transfer window closes just before the season started. I thought we had like another 2 or 3 weeks left, but that was not the case. I always forget about that. So we essentially made like 3 or 4 signings on deadline day. And then we were rushing to try and get one more midfielder through the door, but that didn't quite happen. We looked at Goretzka, we looked at Bentancur. There was a couple of players that we were looking at getting in, like one of those 2 maybe, but we just ran out of time. But hopefully Pereira will be good. And I think ahead of him, we have got some good midfield options. We've got Pogba, we've got McTominay, we've got Andreas Pereira as well. We've got 2 Pereiras now. That's going to get confusing. One more signing has come in, and one of the other players that I said I was going to get was an out-and-out striker. And we looked at Andrea Bellotti, but that didn't quite get through because he got injured. We also looked at Moussa Dembele, but we didn't quite get a deal sorted out for wages and that. So instead, we've gone with someone else. For £14 million, Edinson Cavani has joined from Paris Saint-Germain. £31 million value. He's 32. He's a striker. And he's playing for Manchester United. Now, he is earning £350,000 a week, which does make him our joint highest earner alongside David De Gea. But this is what we're going to go with for the next couple of seasons as a striker. Cavani's in. My first choice was definitely Bellotti. He was 25. I used him a couple of games ago with Liverpool. He scored 60 goals in the season. I wanted to be reunited with him again, but unfortunately he got injured. So we've instead gone with a 32-year-old Uruguayan in Cavani. He was transfer listed. He was valued at £14 million, which I don't think is too bad at all for a proven goal scorer. You can see that for PSG he's been getting double figures all the time, and was at Napoli as well. And at 32, he's not exactly slowed down either. He's still got his pace. And that's it. Like I said, I was going to try and get maybe 1 or 2 more players in, maybe a left back and a central midfielder, but we just ran out of time. And this is what we've ended up with. So you may remember last episode, our friendly didn't exactly go to plan as we lost 5-1 to Young Boys. Probably my fault. I went with a fluid counter-attack. The tactic just was not right. And yeah, it was just a horror show for us. And thankfully since then though, we have improved and we've changed the system a little bit. Not too much, but we have changed it up a bit and we won all but 1 of our remaining friendlies. But I'm going to show you Arnaud Puigdemont because he's scored 4 goals in 2 matches. He's got 1 star current ability, he's got a little bit of potential. And his finishing's good. He was playing sort of as a Mezzala. And I say he's scored 4 goals in 2 games for me, which was really impressive for me pre-season. So he might get some game time here and there. I'm going to try and give him some minutes where I can, maybe in the cups. Because he looks like he's got a good future ahead of him based on what I've seen pre-season. He looks like a possible great player at 18. But today, the first Premier League game of the season, we're away against AFC Bournemouth. Are we still predicted to finish 6th in our predictions? No, we have jumped to 5th. So we're expected to finish 5th behind City, Liverpool, Chelsea and Tottenham. I think Leicester going to be outsiders, like they're doing really well this year. They're going to be ones to watch. And this is the team that we're going to put out on the first game of the season against Bournemouth. David De Gea will be in goal, of course. The back 4 today is Ashley Young, Harry Maguire, Victor Lindelof and Diego Dalot. We're going with Young because Shaw is not fit to play. And Wan-Bissaka has just about picked up his fitness, but Dalot's had more minutes pre-season, so we're going to give him the nod today ahead of Wan-Bissaka, but Wan-Bissaka are going to get plenty of opportunities over the season, don't worry about that. Danilo Pereira will make his debut in that anchorman role, playing behind Andreas Pereira, who's impressed pre-season, and Paul Pogba, McTominay and Fred will be on the bench for some midfield options. Rashford and Lingard, the wide players, Rashford as that inside forward, Lingard as that winger, with Edinson Cavani playing up front as that pressing forward. On the bench, we've got Tahith Chong and Dan James in wide options. We've got Martial on the bench, who's just recovering from a knock himself. Jones and Tuanzebe also picked up slight knocks, as had Melling, the left back, and Juan Mata, the midfielder as well. Against teams we're expected to beat, we're going to play like a tiki-taka sort of style, very positive style. But for teams that we might possibly struggle against, we are going to go with some direct counter-attacking football. So we're going to be a bit more direct, much higher tempo. But games where we're favourites like this one, it's going to be much shorter passing, lower tempo, but keeping the lines very high. We're going to drop back a bit against some more difficult teams. That's the plan anyway. Let's see if it actually comes into fruition. We've done well pre-season, apart from that bad defeat to Young Boys. We've done pretty well. So hopefully that will blend into the season nicely. One point I want to make about this is that I don't really like the team screens like this, because I thought that the players could be a lot bigger. I'm not really sure why they're so small, especially when the pictures are so big. That is something that I think could be improved. Sort of once the full game comes up. We're still in beta obviously, so make sure that you do report any bugs or anything that you think could be improved. I feel like that could be a bit bigger. But hopefully we can get off to a good start today against Bournemouth. Bournemouth playing a 4-4-1-1. Brooks playing behind Callum Wilson. Josh King's on the bench. Hopefully we can get a win in our first game. What I will say as well about the markings on the pitch is that I feel like they're more of an eyesore than anything. It's meant to be like sort of more detailed, as Callum Wilson's through on goal here and he shot it over. Yeah. I think it's just annoying more than anything. I don't really like it, but that's just me. Bournemouth have had the only real highlight so far. There's been one yellow card which has gone to Dalot, or two now actually, because Young has now been booked. Going to go back to balance. Bournemouth have been the better team in the first half hour here. They've had the only chance of the game. But here we go. Danilo Pereira on the ball here. What can he do on his debut? Hopefully he can do well, as Pogba manages to bully Billing off the ball. Here's Pereira. Ashley Young out wide. Can he put a cross in there maybe? No, he brings it back to Pereira. And his namesake, Danilo now. Pogba. He's got Dalot out wide and he finds him. And switches it again to Young. We're not really getting any forward balls here. Cavani, I don't think has had anything to do yet. And here's Pogba. And he's giving it away to Billing. And here's Candreva, who sent Wilson on his way. And Callum Wilson through again. And a good save by David De Gea. So Bournemouth doing well against us so far. We're going to go for our sort of more counter-attacking style, because we haven't done well so far. Fraser with a corner kick, and De Gea comfortably collects that. Rashford got lots of space here, switches it to Jesse Lingard. Cavani making a run forward as well here. Lingard could go all the way though, and he has a go, but just drags it wide of the goal. There's a couple of minutes left of this first half. Bournemouth have been the better team. It hasn't been great for us so far. Callum Wilson has had a couple of chances. De Gea made a good save when he put one over. Harry Maguire to Pereira, and Danilo now. Lingard, that's a good ball for Jesse Lingard. Can he put a ball into the box? Rashford! Oh, that's got to be on target. That's poor by Rashford. He needs to get that on target. And we end the half with a decent chance. Rashford should have put that on target. If he'd have done that, he would have scored. Cavani has just not been involved so far. So let's make him that complete forward. Pereira's going to come up and join the midfield. Danilo's going to be the box-to-box. Andreas is going to be the Metzala. Second half, I want to see some improvements, because I think Bournemouth did edge that first half. Here is Cavani. He's been beaten off the ball by Fraser. Maguire cuts that out well. Here's Young. Switches it for Lingard. Well, Lingard finding lots of space in that right flank. And he switches it again for Young. Lots of wide play here, but we're not getting any balls into their opposition area. Good space there for Young again. Why are we not crossing? Like, we're trying to work it in, it seems. But I feel like some crosses would be good. Pogba. Dalot. This needs to be a cross here. Come on. Oh, it's not good. Pereira. Oh, it's a goal. Andreas Pereira gets the first goal of the season. And it's a good one as well, from about 20 plus yards. We've been playing a very patient game, and it's been rewarded. About 3.5 minutes into the second half, a header away by Mepham came out to Andreas Pereira, and that's a good finish. Ramsdale maybe could have done better, but he might have had his view obstructed. That's an important goal. We've changed it up a bit on the ball. We're going to go for more early crosses, and we're not going to go so narrow. We're playing very narrow at the moment. But what we are going to do is we're going to replace Pogba, and we're going to bring on Scott McTominay, and we're also going to replace Jesse Lingard with Daniel James. Lingard's found some good space, but he hasn't really put any crosses in. Rashford also not done too well today. 74 minutes coming up. It's Callum Wilson, and here's Ryan Fraser. And Lewis Cook coming into it as well. Look, Cook could have a go. Finds Smith with space. Adam Smith goes for goal. Good save by De Gea. It's not out of the woods yet though. Ake and Candreva. That's a bit too much for him to do. Here's Smith. Good header away. Again, it's not really been cleared too well. And Ake again. And finally Dalot with a clearance. And James can run on the end of this. And he does. And he skins the number 3. Daniel James. Can he set someone up? It's Rashford. Oh, it's towards goal, but Ramsdale makes the save. James did a bit too much on that cross. De Gea with a short ball to Lindelof. New rule, of course, you can have defenders in the 18-yard box now. That has been added this season. Yet to see any VAR yet in this game, which is a good thing, because it's absolutely rubbish. Oh, Pereira with a bad giving away of the ball there, and Josh King's through, and oh, De Gea made a save. But Danilo Pereira there is giving the ball away badly. Alright, we've got one more change to make. We are going to replace Edinson Cavani today. And Martial is going to go up top as a false 9. Very narrow result here today. We've just edged the possession. But Bournemouth, I think, will be unlucky not to get anything in this game as we approach injury time. 2 minutes left. It's still only 1-0. This game is still on a knife edge. Ashley Young, it's about 40 yards out. He's got it back. Well, Ashley Young gives the ball away again. And Josh King, it's 2v1 here. Callum Wilson is 1-on-1 and he's scored, and that's been coming. Callum Wilson gets a 93rd minute equaliser, and it looks like we're going to end up with a draw in our first game. I think Bournemouth have been the better team, and I think they deserve at least a point from this. But the ball's given away. King set up Callum Wilson, and Wilson with the finish. It's 1-1, and that's full time. I don't think we've been very good there. I think they're still trying to get used to this tactic of mine. Rashford didn't play well. Pogba didn't really get too involved. Lingard found space but failed to get any good balls in there. Cavani had a quiet game and too much giving the ball away as well. I saw a couple of mistakes there, so we haven't done very well there. And I say they were probably the better team, so we'll take a draw. But when Man United say that, you know there's problems. Still got some work to do with this tactic, but we're hosting Norwich next. So I feel like that is a definite 3 points. And after Norwich, we've got a home game against Spurs, who are pretty much where we want to be at the moment. They've broken into that top 4, and that's where we need to be. So Spurs, one of the teams that we really need to be getting results against this year. But next time, I think we're going to kick off our Europa League campaign. I'm not sure when the draws will be for the group stages. Let's have a look ahead and see when they are. So the group stage draw is just before the Villa game, so I might try and throw that into the video as well. So we'll have that group stage draw, and then we'll probably play our first game in that group. I don't know who it's going to be against. We haven't done too badly today. I think Bournemouth were maybe the better team in that one and could have got a win on another day. We got the goal from Pereira, but they equalised a little. If we'd have won that match, I don't think it would have been deserved at all. But with Norwich, Spurs, Villa and Leicester off camera, I feel like we should be getting 9 or 10 points in those ones on paper. So hopefully we can do that. But next time, it's going to be the start of the Europa League group. But thank you for the support so far. Make sure that you leave likes, leave comments. If you're new here, do consider subscribing and turning on notifications. But we've kicked off the Premier League season with a draw with Man United. Not the greatest of games for us, but hopefully we can improve. Let's hope the results are better off camera. Thank you for watching. I'll see you soon. Goodbye.